Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam. Good morning. Welcome to the Java Cafe, Java fam.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Today is Monday, November 21st, 2000. Did I get it right? Monday, November 220. Monday, November 21st, 2022. Welcome to the Java Cafe. It is Mental Health Mondays, and we are discussing a topic that is not foreign to those of you that are a part of the Java fam. We have discussed this often, unfortunately, because we're still dealing with the issue. And as we've said, since the beginning of time, when we lose loved ones, when birthdays and holidays and different occasions come up, it's a first for many. And so while I'm watching also in our community over the past couple of weeks, there have been a lot of deaths, some by violence, some by circumstances that we're not aware, some due to COVID, some due to just a myriad of issues. And whatever the issues are, there's just been a large or a big impact on our community. And many of those that we have lost lately have far-reaching impact on our community. There was a basketball mentor and coach and referee that was recently killed. And I'm not saying everyone's name because I don't know the names of everyone and I want to honor everyone, but naming the circumstances. There is also anniversaries coming up of people who have passed due to violence and COVID. And so Dr. Brandy is going to come in at about 9:10 or so, and we're going to have a real conversation about grief. We talk about mental health every Monday. It's not something we do just once in a while. Mental health is a big component of the Java Cafe. So before Dr. Brandy comes in, let's go in and see who's in Java Cafe and say good morning. I see a couple of folks are here. Pastor Marion, good morning. Great Monday morning, Java family. Her word for today is encourage. She's jumping right in. Look who's in the building this morning. Sharon Cornelius, good morning. Good to see you in the room. Also, Sister Debbie Stubbs, good morning. Good to see you in the room as well. And also, Soraya Haley, good morning to you. Good to see you in the room. This week, just a couple of programming notes. Thursday, we are planning to still be in the Java Cafe very briefly. For those of you that grew up in church, Thanksgiving service is a tradition. I grew up in Grace Community Church, and I'm sorry, what is it now? Grace Church of All Nations, Grace Community Church, back on 114 Southern Ave, and we would have Thanksgiving service. And Rev, or Bishop Foxworth now, would always say, "Put the turkey in the oven, come to church, and go back home." And so we're going to have, and it's Thankful Thursday. Again, we're thankful every day, but especially on Thursdays, we're going to have. I'm trying to get one or two preacher friends of mine to come in, and we're going to talk thankfulness on Thursday. And so just a programming note there. We will be here tomorrow and also Wednesday as well. Just wanted to remind you that last week on Thursday, we had a very important conversation with Lou Mandarini, who is the mayor's senior advisor for labor relations. I think I got the title right. And then also Chief Brianna Millar, who is the mayor's chief for community engagement. And it was a very real conversation about the police contract and how the city is looking to, through the contract, inform policy around community relations with law enforcement, specifically with the Boston Police Department. It was a very comprehensive session, and so I encourage you to go and watch that. Hey, Tasha, good morning. Good to see you in the room. good to see you in the room. Sharon, seriously? Wow. Sharon just shared, as you saw, Lady Patterson, who is the wife of Gilbert Earl Patterson, I believe, who was the former presiding prelate of the Churches of God of the Church of God in Christ. Sharon is saying that she passed yesterday, and so one, sorry to be sharing that for those of you that are hearing it here for the first time. Two, definitely someone who is a matriarch in the Church of God in Christ, and definitely someone who we watched support her husband, Bishop Patterson, every Sunday morning at 8:30 before Bobby Jones. We would watch Bishop Patterson. A lot of people called him his, before there were online pastors, a lot of people referred to him as their virtual pastor. He was known for saying, be healed, be delivered, and be set free. And so we definitely want to hold up the Church of God in Christ that is mourning the loss of Lady Patterson. So interesting because I had the opportunity over the last couple of weeks. Stacy, good morning. Good to see you in the room. I watched some of the Church of God in Christ convocation on YouTube, and there is definitely a different energy there with J. Drew Sheard, who is the new presiding prelate of the Church of God in Christ. And so shout out to him and Karen Clark Sheard and Kiera and Jay Jr. and all of them folks there over in our Kojic family. Sharon Cornelia, she was a mother in the Kojic church. Absolutely. Pastor Marion, we're definitely holding them up. So continue to keep them in prayer. Also, before Dr. Brandy comes in, let's go in. Pastor Marion already started it, but let us know what your word is for today. What is your word for Mental Health Monday? How are you feeling today? I know a lot of you that are preparing to cook, may have a little anxiety. I have been doing this for a long time, and I prepared starting like a week and a half ago. Go to the store, pick up this, pick up that. I'm not doing a mad rush. One question for you all. Collard greens. I started to go get them yesterday. I may go get them today or late this evening before the store closes. What is the last day that you all, and for my mothers and cookers and brothers in here too, what is the last, if you're cooking, if you're going to clean and cut them on Wednesday, would you get them today or would you get them on Tuesday, tomorrow, praying, hoping and believing that there is some left? And I really don't want to do the bag. If I have to, I will. But I want to get the fresh ones and clean them and cut them up and do all that stuff. So let me know when if you're going to prep, clean, and cut them on Wednesday, would you get your collard greens today? Chime in and let me know. Also, don't forget to put your word for the day for Mental Health Mondays. Stacy is saying, good morning. We got her again. Reverend Jeffrey Brown, good morning. Good to see you. Rev, I almost hit you. I hit your good pastor, but if he's not available, I might see if you're free on Thursday because we're doing Thankful Thursdays on Thanksgiving. Love you, Rev, and good to see you this week. I ran up on Rev in the supermarket. Definitely, I love this brother. Definitely a good brother. Had a chance to hang out with him this summer, and with all due, see Jeffrey. In all the years I've known him, it was definitely a good time to hang out with him. Lord Jesus, I forgot I had a guest this morning. I seen the screen pop up. I'm like, wait, what? What the heck? We're getting ready to bring in Dr. Brandy in a couple of seconds. Sharon Cornelius is letting us know that she's feeling encouraged. Also, Stacy, to be very honest, I thought about you this weekend when I saw that. We just want to pause for a moment and also acknowledge the life loss. And I believe the 27 students that were taken to the hospital due to a bus crash that happened with students from Brandeis University. So please keep that family. I believe there was one death out of that. Again, this is why we're talking today. Those students and that family, a few days before Thanksgiving, is dealing with that. So that's why we're talking about it. We're going to bring Dr. Brady in 1 second. Heidi is letting us know she's feeling resolved today. Rena, good morning. Good to see you in the room. Heidi, thank you so much for praying for Brandeis. Tasha, we are upholding you as well. And so we're going to go in and bring in Dr. Brandy so we can begin this conversation about grief today. We have a couple of definitions, and we're going to have a real conversation. Hey, Dr. Brandy.
Hey, James. Hey,
Good
everybody.
morning. You got
Good
you
morning.
got
Good morning.
your internet working this morning?
You know what?
I'm
Yes, because the motherboard and the Saints,
praying.
they did so, and it's working, y'all.
Thank
So
you, Jesus. No T-Pain this morning.
no tea. Well, let's not jinx it.
Okay, let's not jinx it. Let's jump in real quick. We're going to go to our words, folks. Don't forget to put the words. Don't forget to let me know about when you'll purchase your collard greens. 2 questions I have before you. Your Monday word, and also, so Dr. Brandy, what I asked was, so this is Mental Health Mondays, and we know that for some of us this time of year, cooking and getting ready can cause, some anxiety. And so a couple of weeks ago, I started to pick things up. My cornbread, a bag of cornbread, whatever, the Pepperidge Farm, I didn't mention no names, but the cornbread, bag of cornbread stuff. Then I bought my Jiffy's cornbread. We can mention that name because you ain't making cornbread unless it's from scratch, unless you're using Jiffy's. And I got a couple of other things, my smoked turkey for the greens. I picked up my, what do you call the things? The turkey legs. I picked up the drumsticks yesterday. So slowly preparing, but I have a dilemma. Collard greens. If I'm going to clean and prep them on Wednesday, I started to buy them yesterday, and I'm like, I'm not letting them sit in the refrigerator for 3 days because they're going to like start to wilt. Yes, you can put them in cold water and they come back to life. But so before we go to your mental health word, let's get the superficial out the way. Would you buy your collard greens today or tomorrow?
I'd probably do tomorrow.
Okay. And you see, she said that without hesitation.
Yeah, I do tomorrow. Put them in some stuff, but I do I like a slow cooked, like things can be all night, like just on low, just get all that goodness in it. So yeah, I'd probably do tomorrow, and
Now,
I'd probably have them ready by like Wednesday evening, because small stove, I don't want everything, you know what I'm saying, like the house be hot, like
like running around like, Lord Jesus, I'm about to pass out.
Yeah, so and because I do like my collard greens, I cook them basically all day. Like I just have a slow cook all day. So yeah, I do it tomorrow, James.
Okay, I'm going to judge you a little bit, only because a couple of years ago, there was this meme and post floating around about folks that cook on Wednesday.
Yeah, that's
and
all
they
right.
leave it and what you call it. So I won't say I'm judging you, but there was a Black Twitter blew up because somebody had prepared their food on like Wednesday and it sat, and then Thursday they just got up and warmed it up. Now, for some of us, we can appreciate food that sits because we tend to believe overnight it does what? It marinates.
Marinates. I said there's only certain things that I would cook in advance. Everything else you cook the day of.
Okay.
But yeah.
You got to cook the stuff in the day of.
Yeah.
You got
I'm not a big stuffing person,
or
though,
dressing, stuffing, or whatever.
Yeah, I just I could take it or leave it. I'm not even really a big turkey person.
You're not a big turkey person?
Yeah, Thanksgiving is kind of lost on me sometimes. I'm not a turkey person. I don't eat ham. So
oh, you reminded me. I gotta get, because I'm staying low key. I've been trying to find one of the small spiral hams. I'm not spending $36 on a big old ham, and it's just me. A couple of folks, we might play some spades on Friday. But I'm not buying no big old ham. So anyway, we wanted to get that out the way.
Yeah, but I mean, absolutely. I think there's certain most of the stuff you cook the day of.
Okay. All right.
But then the day of, you be at folk house, you'd be like, okay, why is it 7:00? Like,
because I learned the hard way.
Like, why is it like 7, 8 o'clock? Why ain't we ate yet?
Because the cook, you start and get going.
Ain't no excuse.
It takes the longest.
No,
for real, because I used to make a mistake. I would start cooking at 11 o'clock and wouldn't be done until like 5 or 6 because I didn't know. And Pastor Latrell, my sister, she's the one that taught me. She was like, that's because You get the thing that's going to take the longest prepared and ready to go. And then the things that are quick, you do that last. The gravy's last. The mac and cheese needs to go in the oven early. The dressing needs to be prepared early. And so you have to listen, this thing has become an art.
Look, it gotta be.
I do not
It
play
gotta
with
be.
with
And my
cooking.
small oven, I gotta like time it because ain't too many pans can go in there at the same
Listen,
time.
I remember
You gotta be like, okay, I'm gonna put the mac and cheese. Okay, this gonna go right here. And then,
and then don't let it be a foil pan because you don't mind if it bends a little bit so you can close the oven. Been there, Jesus. All right.
Y'all don't even know. And one year, I remember one year I made Thanksgiving and had family and stuff too. And how I run out of foil? Like that's the thing I ran out of foil. And I saw my mom was like, Brandy, you ain't got no more foil.
That is one of the number one things away from food.
And the thing was the crazy, I bought so much foil, but y'all, I ain't even gonna lie, I bought the cheap kind.
So you had to do it. See, that's why
I ain't bought a heavy duty kind. But James, the problem is that I went to the store, like when it came, I had bought everything else in advance, but I bought the foil and stuff like that last. So, like I got the bent up pans. But I had the cheap foil, y'all, and ran out of foil.
Let me tell you a secret, because sometime now, and Lord forgive me for the term I'm about to use, but I'm a label whore. It got to be Uncle Ben's rice, Jiffy cornbread, Hood milk, either Bell stuffing or stovetop, because I kind of cheat and use a little bit of the pre-seasoned stuff. But what did you just say that made me talk about that? When you said, but I learned how to cheat, because Reynolds wrap is, that's the foil that we tend to purchase. However, I learned buy the no name heavy duty.
Oh, I always buy no name.
It gives you a little bit more than the regular rent. I don't know about the foil. Now they say
it's the same. The same companies make the same thing.
Between Reynolds wrap
they make James. Let me tell you, when it comes to our food, and this is just again something I don't even know why I know.
I have to move on a minute, but we need a little bit of black noise.
P&G and other things. It's like there are, like in media, there are 5 companies that own 90% of everything.
Down to 3 now, but go ahead.
It is the same with food that we consume. We think it's a different name brand and blah blah blah. No, they all look
at that chicken. Purdue chicken compared to some of that other organic and the stuff with no name on it and just black writing at the top.
It's the same.
It ain't coming.
Because that's how they get you. That's what they do. See, that's the thing. Is it's all about the packaging and how it's packaged and da da da. You look down the cereal aisle. It's all the same. It's all the same company.
Some things, but not everything.
Look
at that fat and nastiness on the no name chicken versus Purdue. You still got to clean it, but
okay. Again, that's what they try to tell you. If it's in the stove. If it's in the store, it's all fat and nasty. whether they slap an organic label on it or not.
That's a whole nother conversation. Because I went and seen Dr. Carl Donaldson yesterday, and we talking organic. But
somebody said and agreed with me. Thank you.
I'm not
no stuffing. Hey, Dr. B, I'm with you with this. Thank you, Heidi.
She said she hates the smell. That is one of the number one smells that permeate the house. When you put that stuffing in, like the Thanksgiving holiday family food heavens just go,
yeah, look,
the celery and the onions and
it's great. I just ain't gonna eat it. Y'all like have your stuff in. Seriously, some stuff
y'all waking up violent this morning, Heidi.
Okay. I'm just saying. And Uncle Ben's, because you can't cook rice. That's what I said when he
Gertrude Matilda Jackson taught me. That's my grandmother. I can make some rice. Stop playing.
Look, I am not. Look, you ain't had to bring up your grandmother's name and spirit up in here
because I know I can cook rice.
Yeah, Uncle Ben's. Y'all, let's do a poll real quick.
Don't
Is
make me.
Uncle Ben's, is that rice cooking?
Speaking of polls, don't forget, folks, when I see props in the room, tell us what 17 means. And we're going to get ready to talk about
Oh, my
this
word.
subject that
My
is, we're
word.
going to do your word and subject. But I think it's important as we're talking about the holidays and first and families, we also want to recognize that Pastor Marion raised this. And I was going to talk about this toward the end, but we also want to raise those, I believe, in Colorado, where there was the shooting at the nightclub targeting the LGBTQ plus community. And so horribly tragic and just hateful that this was done on the Transgender Day of Remembrance, or leading into that, I believe. And so we want to acknowledge that. And that group as well, many of them are dealing with the first. And so that's why we're going to move into that in just a few moments. But Dr. Brandy, get out of the comments and tell us your word for today. We saw you. You just got distracted like big time.
I was like, what's going on? My word for today is off center. That's my
Off
word.
center. What does that mean?
I just woke up and it was just a little off center. Like I didn't really have the time to, digest my news as I normally do.
Yep.
I was like rushing, and something I thought I had put somewhere I didn't. So it's just a little off center today. That's all.
Okay.
Just a little bit.
My word for today is, I think, well, I gotta be I can't be an offender of my own rule. My word for today is okay. Is that a word? It
Yeah,
is
that's
a
a
word.
word. Yo,
Okay.
they clowning on you in the comments.
Where? About
With Uncle Ben's rice, they going in.
no, Uncle Ben's is because that is the brand that my grandmama raised. Uncle Ben's is the name brand rice. It used to be Aunt Jemima, but what do they call it now? What is the new name of Aunt Jemima?
I don't even
Gotta
know.
be Land O'Lakes butter. It has to be Hood milk, Purdue chicken.
They
What else?
clowning.
Um,
Oh man,
here are late.
I don't even remember any name brands because my grandmother had a little plot, and she would grow a lot of stuff. So I don't even
Grew
remember
rice.
like.
She grew rice.
No. I'm
Oh,
saying all the veggies and stuff like that. And we would go someplace and get chickens and stuff. So like I don't even remember name brands growing up. Like
gotcha.
I just
Well,
yeah.
let's get ready to move because it's
Yeah.
9:26.
But
And in all of
Uncle
this talking, we
Ben's, it's
definitely
easiest
talked
to make
about
if you don't know
moving
how to
into like
rice.
grief and
Yes.
healthier grieving. And so let's get ready to move into that. One of the things, oh God, this will be the last one. Nicole said, I don't want homemade cranberry sauce. Give me that cold lump in the fresh. So first of all, Daryl Drumright, Pastor Daryl Drumright is in the room, and we'll move on from here after this
I don't
comment.
even like cranberry sauce, y'all.
Pastor Daryl Drumright put in the hand of his minister of music on yesterday morning. I watched the service. He gave him a can of cranberry sauce. I'm in between. There's a young sister I know that does her own saucing. And when I tell you, I take that thing and put it on crackers. I'll put it on toast because that homemade cranberry sauce. But I got to admit, that clump out of the can, it just has its own taste. Ocean spray. So, Dr. Brandy, since we're talking about
Yeah, I don't eat it
at all.
Mm-mm.
Oh, Jesus. All right.
I mean, again, I will.
You will, but it's not a fave.
But it's
So,
not a thing.
while we're talking about the holidays and all that is going on, we wanted, and you and I have talked about this before. And I wanted, though we've talked about it before, I wanted to name it again because on my timeline over the past couple of weeks, I've seen what I call, and it's so interesting because there's just a culture, within violence in this space and whatnot, and what I call far-reaching impact of death, any death of someone loved them, whether it's violence or COVID or whatever the circumstances, someone loved them. But I'm seeing these far-reaching losses, for lack of better words. That's not the right connotation. Where you had a mentoring basketball coach that touched many. You have anniversaries of those that have passed. You also have there was a producer that recently passed. There was a rap artist that recently passed. all local and loved here, and some, on a national scale as well. So I find myself again as we're approaching, excuse me, as we're approaching the holidays to really have this conversation again. So we're going to talk about grief a little bit this morning as we're coming into this week. And just wanted to have a real, and Dr. Brandy, I did a little, I won't say studying. I just went to the internet and looked and got a definition to really begin the conversation. But what is grief? And Webster's defines it as a deep and poignant distress caused by or as if by bereavement, and also the cause of suffering. And so, what are your thoughts there? Or do you want to set any sort of further context into why we're discussing this?
I think one of the reasons why we're discussing it, or at least how I approach this conversation, is you think about this time of the year. You
Mhm.
know, you have Mariah Carey gonna start playing 800 times Silent
She put a
Night.
post up the other day at like 12:01 after Halloween. It was like November, October. What is Halloween? November 1st, like 12:01. My
Yeah, like so. But you think about this, we were talking about and going over our recipes and hanging out with family, hanging out
Mhm.
with friends and things like that. And this time of year is great for that, to be in community with
Yep,
others. At the same time, there are those that while they may be in community with others, there is a place setting that's
that
empty.
is. Yes. And that's
There
reality for many.
Yeah, and or there are memories that come up. So maybe that place setting has been empty for a while, but every holiday you're reminded even more. As folks get older, as the stories get more and more elaborate as you go on. But I think this time of the year, it's an interesting time because, particularly in the mental health space, is because typically we think of this time of the year as when most people are in community and gathered around. But something we also find with those who are struggling, whether they've lost someone or they are currently struggling, is that they can be in a crowded room and still feel isolated. Because that's just the space they are in. And so there is a time of collective grief. And also,
Yeah.
when you turn on the news and you just see incident after incident
That's that
after incident
vicarious.
after
Yep.
incident after incident, it's vicarious trauma and it's vicarious grieving. Like, I know the Migos rapper, like, I didn't know him personally, right?
But
But the way he died and how he died, it was just senseless and tragic.
and seeing you talked about collective grieving and seeing, and this is one of the reasons why we're back here today, and seeing a community grieve. It we don't necessarily have to know. And I think for folks like you and I, even the awareness that there's a population that is suffering, it can even impact us. And so there's the direct impact, and then there's the sort of peripheral,
Yeah.
impact, as you said, turning on the
Yeah.
news.
The
Um,
secondary, the tertiary,
the,
like and you get inundated. And then sometimes too, coupled with that is, it's the most wonderful time of the year, and you may have guilt because you are like,
there's
so
survivors who- yeah,
because somewhere in the world right now somebody is suffering. It don't matter what we like, somewhere right now
yeah,
there is some tragedy going on. And so you also have this individually or as a community, you may have this kind of guilt response where you're like, how dare I be happy in the face of so much trauma, of so much pain, of so much hurt going
mhm,
on. And so that's all coupled with, how do we grieve in a
in a more,
healthy way? And how do we talk about our grief
yeah,
too? That's the thing, is it's not just how do we grieve, because sometimes, we Dee Dee's Cry over the weekend celebrated the International Survivors of
I
Suicide
saw,
Day.
yep,
And, it's like, one of the individuals that attended said that, when she lost her loved one, she isolated, she self-isolated. She was like, I don't want to do anything. I'm not going to do anything around the holidays for a couple of years.
Mhm.
Right. And so you think about that in terms of maybe for her in that moment, that was good, that was restorative. But then at the same time, what was the impact on her family? What was the impact on the loved ones that were still here and like still wanting that presence? And so it is a question of how do we take care of ourselves, our community, and then how do we do this in this season? When,
And
we're about to celebrate Thanksgiving. Like, just think about I mean, when you talk about the history, okay?
but that we'll leave alone,
We're gonna
because
leave that part alone. We're
this
just
is
gonna talk about the word, just the
let's stay
word,
focused. Yep, yep.
Thanksgiving
So
and thankfulness. So
absolutely.
we're
One of the things. Go
yeah.
ahead.
So yeah,
One of
we're
the other
just
things I
entering
want.
that season.
One of the things I wanted to mention is when you oh God, I just forget. That's why I'm be messing with Dr. Brandy. I'm like, don't go too long because I'll forget the point. But
Yeah,
you
I
had
ain't gonna
said
say nothing else.
something. No, you please. You had said something that made me think about the fact, for many of it being the first time missing their presence. Um, the reality is we move. Oh, what I wanted to say was when you talked about in a more healthy manner, if there's a more healthy manner, that automatically means that there are unhealthy ways that often we respond to grief. Some of the most popular are, and I've said this from a reality standpoint, excuse the vernacular, but if that pint of Hennessy used to last you, 3 weekends, and you found out as we're approaching this weekend of the holiday and it's gone from
Mhm.
Friday until last night, and you struggling, you called into work this morning because you just couldn't, or if you're 50 back, well, do you even still do that? I don't even, I'm old. From isolation to more use of, what we call self-medicating, trying to numb the
Yeah.
pain. And those are, and we don't want to sound like we're trying to pass judgment, but those are ways that may not help with the grieving. The last thing I'll say is, and Newt helped me with this when I went through my breakup last year. He was like, "You need to sit with it," and I was like, "What? No, I'm trying to avoid."
Like, nah, nah,
No,
nah, 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 nah,
yeah,
nah.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. You
yeah.
and there is, and maybe we can talk about this for about 2 minutes. It is important to be real about what we're feeling and quote unquote sit with it. Why would you say that that's important?
Huh. So sitting with it um is a way to, it's not saying that it doesn't hurt.
Mhm.
It's not saying that you won't still feel pain years from now. It's just a way to say acknowledge that it is what it is.
But why is it important to acknowledge it? And I'm going somewhere.
And the thing is, the reason why it's important to acknowledge that it is what it is because it means that you are grounded in the reality of the present situation as it is. Sometimes when you say you numb the pain with alcohol, with drugs, with sex, with shopping, with spending, whatever it is you are looking for a way to escape, even if it's temporarily.
Yep.
And what happens is after you finish that
The
bottle,
temper come.
the pain is still there. You're still numb and you still haven't dealt with and sat with what it was that caused you to go to that drink. And so that's why sitting with it, it ain't easy. And it doesn't mean that the pain will go away, but it brings about some sense of acknowledgement of what is this that hurts so much? Let's name it. Let's speak it.
Yep.
And then we can start to heal from it.
And that, I think, Dr. Brandy, is the point that here I wanted to drive home is, as you said, 2 years from now, because they say it takes a minimum of 2 years to end and begin the process of the shock. It can take up to, for some, 2 years. But being present in that at the time means that even in the 2 years, it will hit you, the memories, the missing them. But ignore, I've seen so many times in working with families, morely through violence, but either through sickness or just supporting families through ministry, There's always one or two people that are busy. They're putting the service together. They're doing this. They're taking care of everybody else. And 2.5 months later, you hear about them all but like a nervous breakdown. And so that's one of the things that why we're naming today, that as hard as it is important to acknowledge it and be real. And it doesn't mean that that after you get up from quote sitting at that period, and it doesn't mean just one time. It means it comes up.
You might have to be mad for a minute, okay?
Who said
depending
that?
on
Let's
depending
be
on
real.
what the issue is. You might have to be up in here hollering at yourself, at God, at whatever entity.
That part.
Like you really might have to go in, right? And the thing is, and this is what it said too, is that even the sitting in it, we want to make sure that space is healthy too.
That's the, and I was getting ready to go with
We
those
want to make sure
environments.
that space is healthy too, because while it's important to unpack, while it's important to, express it, name it, and, speak it, it's also important to make sure that we don't do the worst of it, which is where we're only sitting in it.
Right, because you can,
And it becomes an echo chamber.
balance. Yep.
Yeah, because then it's an echo chamber.
Yep.
And then we're stuck in that too. That anger, that frustration, that why, that da. So it's important to sit in it, and it's important to visit it. It's I look at it like we have to think of it as a Airbnb or something. Like you check in, but you got to check back out. Right.
Yep.
So, because again, you don't want to just stay in there, because that can become unhealthy too.
And we've said that generally about mental health. It's okay not to feel okay. Where it becomes not okay is where it's you quote unquote wallow in it, and it becomes where, a couple of days here and there and whatnot. But if you're going 2 and 3 weeks, you can't get out of bed, you're not eating, you're not showering, that's an issue. So as we talk about the environment and maybe move into some healthy ways to grieve, I know one of the things for me is memories, and in the moment, the missing might cause some tears, and then that sort of dissipates, or it changes into memories. Crazy stuff that you think about the folks that they did, you think about their attitude, you think about things that were said. The truth is, certain smells, certain movies, certain songs may bring up a memory. And for me, it is smiling and thinking about the good times. But also another thing I do is knowing that, or presuming is what they would want from me if they're not here, friend, grandmother, is like working towards. And every once in a while when something happens, I think about my grandmother. I think about this one that passed. I think about that one as sort of this thing that, like, I'm still thinking about making them proud. You know what I mean? So I know for me, that is a healthy way. Have I self-medicated in the past from vicarious trauma in my own? Yes, let's be 100. But my awareness of not wallowing in it too much lends me to be cognizant, and then also reach out. That there have been times where I've randomly reached out and been like, bro, I'm not doing well. So I think a healthy way to do it is important, that we start talking about it as well. How have you in the past, Dr. Brandy, grieved in a healthy manner? Oh, but Sister Paula, we're going to have to read this, Jesus.
Yeah. So I'm going to read Sister Paula's message, and then I'll go to the
Go ahead.
So Sister Paula says, good rising all, just got off the road. And my response to, quote, sitting with it is allowing myself to let the waves off grief. For example, losing my mom 11 years ago, to face it in the moment, whether it be a sad wave with tears or a nostalgic one with laughing at the funny memories, or those moments when going through a challenge or struggle. I acknowledge if I'm handling something in a way that honors them and what they meant to me or taught me, whether to do what they would have or choosing. So,
and my mother, and I'll mention this as well. Every once in a while, when I was younger, I would forget to call Nana and be like, oh my God, I got to call. Maybe now it's down to like once a year, but over the years, once or twice a year, it would be like, I can't call grandma. But to Paula's point, that is and it's so interesting because this is delayed as far as the comments. And so she affirmed a lot what I was saying about honoring and celebrating. But Dr. Brandy, as we get ready towards approaching to wrap up, how have you handled grief in a healthy manner?
So it depends. So I look at it as stages and phases. So I lost some people when I was younger,
Hmm.
and I can't say that I really processed it then, um, in terms of really understanding that their presence was no longer going to be in my life for many more years. And so I don't know when I was younger that I really processed it in a healthy way or in any way,
Hmm.
really. It was just like they were gone and you just kind of deal with it. The older I got, I think in terms of processing grief in a healthy way, is it depends on the situation and it depends on the loss. It depends on how close it was to me and the impact. I mean, let's be real. Um, Not everyone we lose has the same level of impact. And so I think if it's someone close to me and the impact was greater, then what I try to do is even even in that moment when you get that call, like whether you knew it was coming or not, is try to sit in that space. And I really try to think about, okay, how are you feeling right now?
Hmm.
How are you feeling? And what is it you need to do? Like, what do you need to do in this moment? Who do you need to help? That type of thing. But for me, a lot of it is, it comes later. It for me, a lot of it comes later, and it's probably because growing up, there was so much death. There was so much death. Cancer, HIV, AIDS. I mean, it was just so much death. So it's just different as an adult, growing up with so much death around you that you just realize it is a part of life. It's still hard.
Hmm.
Losing my grandfather earlier this year was hard. I'm still sitting with it. And I try to get to what, hold on, I can't remember who it was that said, is try to think about the good. Um,
Yep.
that I had them for wonderful years,
Hmm.
that they were here for many years, and try to think about their memory. And as we go into the holiday, we'll share some crazy funny stories and we'll do that. But yeah, I think for me, that's how I try to process it. Is I try to be like, at some point in time, every one of us is going to leave this earth.
Hmm.
Every one of us is. We hope that we all live a long life, but we're all going to leave this earth. And so I just me personally, I try to hold on to the moments that they're here and cherish them so that when they go to the other side, I don't have that guilt or that, some of those feelings. It'll still hurt, but I won't have those feelings, because that exacerbates it when when things are unfinished.
And that's one of the reasons why it's important to sit. But the other piece is, um it is, and I lost my train of thought that quick, that I really gotta maybe have 2 cups of coffee in the morning when we talk
Or just
about these, because
acknowledge
there's so much.
what's your age now? What's that age? Oh, okay.
Anyway, we're going to get ready. We got to trickle in this black joy here and there when we're talking about such a heavy and weighted topic. So let's name a couple
Yeah.
of things when we talked about healthy. One is sitting with it and acknowledging it, is definitely important, but don't sit in it too long to where it, for a long period of time, is interrupting your regular routine. Even with sitting with it, and I think in this we can use the term accountability partner. We
Yeah.
need to have someone that we can just randomly text, call, and say, I'm not okay. And everybody may not have that. So, Dr. Brandon, I'm going to ask you to get that number up, for in worst case scenarios when folks are dealing. I believe it's 988.
988. And that was mentioned in one of the chat too, is that sometimes we may not just be able to sit with it or talk with a friend. Some may need some therapy. Some
And
of us
that
may
is
need some
another
support.
way, is
And
absolutely.
and I was seeing another comment where somebody said that the longer the loss is, the harder it is.
So I saw that too,
Yeah.
and let's park there for 1 second because I've taught, shared with people, and it's been my experience that time, and I don't say heals, but I found myself saying that time allows the sting of it to not be as intense. And so, Heidi, we want to lift and appreciate you giving a whole different perspective because she's saying the longer he's gone, the harder it is for me. And
Mm,
so that we definitely want
yeah.
to raise that because
You know,
it is a different it's a different experience.
yeah, the thing that for me that gets harder the older I get is particularly like for my grandparents that I lost when I was younger is I don't remember their smile. I don't remember their facial expressions.
Mhm.
I don't remember and that at times can sting. Like I still
Yeah.
remember
You
the
get you get guilty.
stories.
You get guilty because
Yeah, you like I still remember the stories. I still remember what, the pies taste like. I still remember that, but I don't remember their face.
yep.
I don't remember that. And I think that's part of it too is that, the older you get, the memories, for some of the memories, they're crystal clear, but the totality, you
Of who they are
lose some of that.
as
And
time
so
goes.
that might be some of it is that, the sting is less, but then your memories aren't as
Well,
crystal.
so I would say there, not just with Heidi, but as you're talking, don't allow Heidi the longevity of what you're dealing with. Also, just make you smile a little bit. Age, memories, just in general. It don't allow yourself to be in a guilty place when you reference to that hard. It's a reality. I joked about it, but age, and then also, there is just as unfortunately as time passes, some believe that it does get easier, but for some, I guess because of Dr. Brandy, what you named, the frequency of remembering may not be as much. And so when you do and realize that it's been 6 months since I said my brother's name and
Yes.
remember,
Oh my
don't
God.
allow your
Oh my
don't
God.
allow yourself to be
Yo.
guilty about that, Heidi.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be real. This year, and I haven't had this happen for years and years, but this year, my maternal grandmother's death, for whatever reason, it hit me harder this year.
Okay.
And so, and she died in end of October. And so, I was just like, why am I feeling this way? Like why like and I actually had to act like I had to ask why does this feel like
Like
this?
this time. Yeah.
And it was two very clear reasons for me. One was the last time I was home, I had planned to go by her grave and I didn't make it there. So there was guilt around that.
Mhm.
And then the second was that I could not recall her face without
Ugh.
looking at a picture.
Yep.
And that was just like I just it was like, Conchetta says it's like it was like a scab. It was like I had picked the scab this year.
But
And
but let's
you know,
reference scab as a form of what?
it's a form of healing. It's a form of healing. But it had been like it
But when
was
you pick it,
healing. So it was healing and then I
you
I
picked
I,
it.
I was doing this. Right? I was
I'm
doing
sorry.
this to it.
Because
So,
I picked up the
you know
scab.
how I was. I was like, "Oh, huh."
Yeah.
You know?
But that's the
Um,
reality of the
but that's the
feeling, I think.
yeah,
It
that's
it really, really is. And so we thought it was important today to really name this as we're entering this and Thanksgiving is a little bit different. All that we named about what we understand about its real history, because many of us do this every Sunday. Every day for many of us is a day of Thanksgiving. We thank God every day. But this day where the country and sort of the most of the world sets aside intentionally to be to express gratitude with our loved ones in a more expanded manner. For some, that expansion now is missing a person or a few people, or it's the anniversary or whatever. And so, not whatever, but different circumstances. And so, we thought it was important to name it today. And Lasagna, before you go, we just wanted to say happy birthday to you. Lasagna is one of our charter members. Lasagna was very real and transparent with us about when David transitioned. And so, Lasagna, we hold you, we hold Sharon up, we hold Auntie Java up, we hold my mother up, we hold Pastor Marion up, any and everyone that has been dealing. And Dr. Brandy, we thank you for your transparency and naming, because when we facilitate these conversations, when we get off, we don't just hit end show and broadcast and then we go. We have to process through,
Yeah, you
our stuff
do.
as well. And
Yeah,
so
you
thank you
do.
so much for that. But Lasagna and others, we just wanted to say that
Ooh,
we are.
can I make a request?
Oh Jesus,
Can I
hold on.
make a request?
Private chat
So,
me first to make notes. So I'm messing.
y'all, I'm gonna be in Boston this year.
Oh,
So
you
if
about to collect weight?
anybody, yeah. So normally I'll switch off. I'll like go South Carolina, go to Georgia. I'm gonna be in Boston this year. So if anybody has an extra plate they want to donate. And I only say extra plate because I'm not really making a lot this year because I'll be then out of town for like a month. So it don't even make sense to buy a whole lot. So if anybody has a plate of anything, not the poke, okay? Sorry, y'all,
My
not the poke,
chitlins are
unless it's
my
bacon.
chitlins, my chitlins
Unless
are
it's
on guard
bacon.
right now. Jesus,
Unless it's bacon, because bacon don't count. But
or ham.
oh, nah, I can't do
You
ham,
don't eat ham.
but bacon, if it's bacon. But yeah, if anybody has a plate they want to give to Dr. B, you let me know. I will meet you. And Mary, okay, Pastor Mary, you do a drive by. I love it. I'm in Roxbury. We can talk offline. I ain't playing. I really ain't playing because I'm not trying to have food just go to waste.
No,
Making food for one person, not. Mm-mm.
I've done that in the past. And you know what? While we're it's so interesting because in 2000, and I guess we'll end with this to talk about how the balance between time and it getting easier or hard. Oh,
She said she mean for her.
she not talking about driving by. She talking about you drive by, and then she say thank you on Thanksgiving. But no, I think for me, I'll be very transparent. In 2000, my grandfather went into a nursing home in 2008 in July. Yes, Ma, I already know to save you some. And that November, I remember going to see him at the nursing home, and he was like, "Are you cooking?" My grandfather loved my food. Are you cooking? And I was like, "No, Grandpa, you're not home." And I literally remember him. It's kind of hitting me. I literally remember him putting his head down, and my grandmother and auntie and others know, and Heidi, you would see him in church. He just put his head down and said, "Oh, shucks." And so I didn't tell him, but when I tell you, that was like on, I want to say Monday or Tuesday. Dr. Brandy, when I tell you I spent the next 2 days shopping
You better have.
and I used to, and folks remember from years ago, the memories come up. I made like 13, 14 dishes. And for me, it was cathartic because it was grandpa. You know what I mean? And I still cook, but I noticed through the years, I guess to Heidi's point, and we'll wrap up, is the last couple of years, that cathartic thing has a little bit dissipated, to be very honest. Those first few years, I'm cooking on Thanksgiving. I got to cook on because it was about grandpa. Now I'm like down to 6 or 7 dishes. And it while I think of him, it's not the same. And it right here in the real moment, I don't feel as guilty. But now, as I realize that it's happening, thanks to Heidi's point. So Heidi, you're helping me today. It's not guilty, but it's like, dang, you know what I mean? So I can see where, Heidi naming that point, I think for a lot of people brought up. And so it's a reality. We're human. And to not make light, but to drive home a real part of this to help you not feel guilty. Anyone is dealing with this. There's the saying that quote unquote, out of sight, out of mind. And as human beings, that in daily interaction, that holiday interaction, if it's been 5, 10, 15 years, don't feel guilty. Still love them because they're embedded here. This is subject to some stuff, age, if you consumed, THC, but this, as Carl Donaldson said, it's a heart condition. And so what
Yeah,
you need to
it's a
know,
heart
remember, and
condition, and
move
it's just you,
the
like
heart,
you,
the
your
heart will answer
DNA,
that for
your
you.
structure
Yep.
is
So
them.
this is one of our most
Yeah,
deepest sessions.
but y'all, I'm not to be funny, but I'm serious. Who gonna give me a plate though? I mean, like, I mean, but everybody, seriously though, have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Have a wonderful week. I'm gonna be off from like Wednesday on, chilling.
Chitlins, you said?
I said chilling. I ain't say nothing about no chitlins.
I didn't hear you correctly.
I ain't say nothing about them funky chitlins. I'm sorry.
That's why
Chitlins are
mine are
great.
going
I've
into
had
my-
chitlins. I've had all that, but
don't be judging my my chitlins.
the smell.
Mine don't do that.
Hmm.
My chitlins, listen, my aunt,
Look, meat got a smell to it. What you talking?
it don't smell, but it don't smell.
It ain't like
almost
funky.
said so.
It ain't funky,
right.
but it.
Some meat is, because that's why you put mustard on your chicken, because it made. Hey, watch it, Pastor Marion. You mess around and somebody drive by. I'm gonna drive by and throw a nice tinfoil pack of chitlins to you, and when you catch it, the juice is gonna ooze out on your hand.
Anyways, let me get off of here.
All right, Dr. Brandy, thank you. I'm gonna go.
All right, love y'all, and seriously, whoever can, hook up a plate, DM me.
And just know we won't see Dr. Brandy again until the first Monday in December, December 4th.
Yeah, December 5th.
December 5th.
Yeah, right, I'm taking the 28th off. It'd be a long week.
Y'all stop hating. Anyway, all right, Dr. B, I'll be in touch.
We need to do a poll. Chitlins? Nah. Chitlins? Nah. I think most people are nah.
There's only like 3 or 4 in here that nah. Everybody else is like yes.
But no, we still need to eat chitlins. We need to pass down those traditions. So if all of us be like,
somebody gonna hear that and just be like, Dr. Brandy is perpetuating unhealthy. Please, but I eat them once a year. And I talked to Carl the other day, and yeah, I got like 3 or 4 new vitamins in the room, and then I'm taking some herbal.
James, I try to say you need to give me a plate.
You can, doctor. I already said I'll let her know. It depends.
But no chitlin.
Like I'm not doing a lot this year. But I remember one year I did so much. I had people driving. I must have dropped off and gave away about maybe 12 or 13 plates full, just with sides too. And people were like, I was full. All right, Dr. Brandy. Chitlins once a year. That's it. All right, Dr. B, I will be in touch, and thank you so much.
Y'all have a great week. Have a great day, and check on each other.
Absolutely.
Especially those who it may hit a little bit harder this year. So check on each other, give each other plates and chitlins and whatever else.
Absolutely, Dr. B. Thank you, and I'm
gonna
do announcements and be in touch. All right, everyone. That's it for us today. We're going to get ready to wrap up. Tomorrow is Testimony Tuesday, and so it'll just be me tomorrow and probably Wednesday as well, because it's hard to get folks this week. But there's a few things coming up. Also, I think that is it. Thursday was talked a little bit about the session last week with Mayor Wu. Also, this Saturday, the 26th, 4-hour singers. You sang. We, myself and Issa Bibbins, have been commissioned to put the choir together for a huge national, I would say international event taking place on January 13th. It is the unveiling of the Embrace Memorial being done by Embrace Boston and Hank Williams, the artist. And I've mentioned this here and there over the past couple of months, but we finally got a rehearsal space. We finally got some things together. I finally got the last text from Brother Issa to say that we are on for Saturday. So Saturday, I believe I think it's 2 p.m., but I'll put a flyer together and get the link up. There will be auditions. This is if you know your ministry is ushering, I'm messing, but from choir directors, jazz artists, we need folks that singing is their thing, because we want to put a very wonderful presentation together for this national audience. And so more information is coming out about that, and we will let you know. Oh, hold on. Oh, I think I did. I'll double check, Charlotte. Crap. I'll double check. Probably, and just I'm gonna say no because I don't know. Hi, Charlotte. But we'll put more information. Listen, hey, James, I'm going to be part of it until North Carolina through Saturday, though. We're doing an audition on Saturday and may do one next Tuesday, as well. And so I'm this brother Issa Bibbins. So Issa is the father of the Loop. Self-love is the best love. So I'm working with their dad with this choir. So this is going to be awesome. The mayor's office reached out to see if we could get something together in December, but no, we can't pull it off by then. But January 13th, y'all, this is going to be major. All right. Get you right in that tenor section, Sharon. All right. Auntie Java said, know your gifting. Yeah, well, there is an audition, and it's going to be I don't know how we're going to tell the people that we need to share with them that their ministry is ushering. Lord have mercy. I might have to because some of these auditions and stuff I see on TV, y'all know I ain't fully delivered. Somebody get the cussing and swinging at me. Anyway, no, I'm messing. But they're going to take place at 12th Baptist Church starting next Saturday, the 26th. I believe we said at 2 p.m., so I just have to double check the time. And I think that is it for me today. Stacy, come on, sign up. Lasagna said her days of singing are over. I know my everyone sings, can't sing. So I'm going to get ready to get off of here. And you all have a wonderful Monday. Share this, tag this with someone that needs to hear this about grieving healthy today. Don't be judgmental if folks are not. And I saw a quick mini dialogue with Stacy and Heidi about the right way. And Heidi said she agreed or whatever. But I would also say that people as individuals, and Stacy, I know you understand this, people just in their individual points of reference and experience, we just need to continue to extend grace when folks are dealing. And so even if they're unhealthy, and Stacy, I know you pray, we pray for them, check on them, and help them get to a more healthier way of grieving. So hopefully today's session help some of you that are dealing with it. Heidi, especially for you, and Lasagna and Sharon and others that cited their active process in this. All right. I will see everybody later. Lasagna, we'll talk to you later. I'll see you later. And that's it for me. Have a great day, everybody. Love y'all much and appreciate you. We are planning to be here Thursday at 9 briefly. I'm looking to get an artist and also somebody to come share some thankfulness with us and just speak with us. All right. That's it for me. Have a great day. And we'll talk.